This will be interesting since I didn't bother scripting this one. So the election is coming up. It's less than 1 week away. We will choose the next president of the United States, and it will be either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. And there are plenty of reasons to not vote for Donald Trump. But I've gotten comments on a few of my recent videos from people saying, well, why are you voting for Hillary Clinton? Which, by the way, I am. Why are you voting for Hillary Clinton? And can you come up with a positive case for Hillary Clinton that doesn't involve, well, at least she's not Donald Trump? As it so happens, I can. And I would like to try to make that case for you, at least the reasons why I am going to vote for Hillary Clinton in a positive way, not just to prevent a Trump presidency. And let's start by just going to Hillary Clinton's campaign website and looking at some of the issues that she is running on. Let's check out her platform. So, ooh, look, it's the time tunnel. Doug, Tony, where are you? Okay, dated reference. Let's go to hillaryclinton.com. Okay, so, oh, well, I've already donated to Hillary's campaign, so, issues. Let's learn more about Hillary's vision for America, shall we? Let's first look at economy and jobs, why don't we? How about jobs and wages? What does Hillary want to do about jobs and wages? As president, Hillary will launch our country's boldest investments in infrastructure since the construction of our interstate highway system, advance our commitment to research and technology, establish the U.S. as the clean energy superpower of the world, strengthen American manufacturing with a $10 billion Make It in America plan, cut red tape, ensure that the jobs of the future in caregiving and services are good paying jobs, pursue smarter, fairer, tougher trade policies, commit to a full employment, full potential economy, and break down barriers so that growth, jobs, and prosperity are shared in every community in America. Now, you might say that is, look, time tunnel again. You might say that is just political talk. You might say that that's just Hillary telling people what they want to hear. But you can make that same argument about Donald Trump. You can make that same argument about any politician that ever runs for any sort of office. The hard, difficult truth in our cynical age is, despite the widely told narrative to the contrary, politicians, at least politicians who are elected president, do tend to at least try to keep their campaign promises. I know that's a terribly controversial thing to say, but if you go back and you look at some of the fact-checking websites like PolitiFact or factcheck.org, and you look at the number of campaign promises that President Obama has kept or tried to keep. I mean, obviously, there are always going to be promises that aren't kept, that either the president just sort of forgets about or maybe doesn't intend to try to keep, or promises that aren't kept because, Congress, in the case of Obama, I think this is the case with a lot of it, Congress just refused to work with him on stuff. There are always going to be unkept promises. But if you look at the history of American presidents, I think you'll be somewhat surprised by how many of their campaign promises they kept in some measure, or at least tried to keep. So when Hillary puts a campaign promise on her website, to me, it's not just puffery. It's not just her saying, oh, she'll say anything to get elected. I mean, I'm sure there's some of that. She's obviously selling herself to the people, but I think it's fair to assume that these promises on her website, these proposals, if you can't guarantee that all of them will 100% be kept by the time she leaves office, it at least gives you an idea for what her presidency will be like, for what her priorities are, for what direction she is facing. And I think when you look at her website and you look at the issues that she cares about, and you look at her proposals for how to deal with those issues, you see a person who wants to raise wages, who wants to invest in infrastructure, who wants to try to stimulate growth in the manufacturing sector. This is someone I think that we as progressives, as liberals, can at least start with. And yeah, we need to vote for progressives down the ticket. We need to hold her feet to the fire. We need to drag her to the left. I completely hear everybody who says those things. Staying on the theme of the economy for a minute, let's look at the labor and workers section of Hillary's website. As president, Hillary will invest in good-paying jobs, restore collective bargaining rights for unions, and defend against partisan attacks on workers' rights, prevent countries like China from abusing global trade rules. Here's a big one for me. Raise the minimum wage and strengthen overtime rules. If you are looking for a reason to vote for Hillary Clinton, a positive, non-Trump related reason to vote for Hillary Clinton, this, my friend, is it right here. Hillary wants to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour over time. That means not right away, but eventually it'll be stepped up to $15 an hour. That, to me, is, especially if you care about workers' rights, if you care about the middle class, if you care about the working class, $15 minimum wage under President Hillary. That is as good a positive reason to vote for her as I can think of. These are just a few of the reasons why I will vote for Hillary Clinton on Election Day, and vote for her happily and vote for her proudly, and why I would still vote for her no matter who her Republican opponent was. Because even though Donald Trump makes it a lot easier to vote for Hillary Clinton, or indeed to vote for any Democrat who may have been filling that spot in her place, the fact is Hillary Clinton is a better candidate for president of the United States than any Republican candidate I could imagine. Certainly better than any of the other occupants of the primary election clown car that did not quite make it and fell to the campaign of Donald Trump. Chris Christie, Rand Paul, Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Jeb Bush. There's not one of them that I would have even considered voting for instead of Hillary Clinton. And to bring this back around to a point that I made at the very beginning of this rambling video, apologies for that, Hillary Clinton is a fundamentally honest politician. I know that's a super controversial thing to say, because not only are most of us incredibly cynical about politics, and we just assume that politicians are lying to us most of the time anyway, regardless of their party affiliation, but Hillary Clinton has been the subject of endless narratives for 30 years about her dishonesty, about her duplicity, about how she hides things, about how there's just something about her that isn't right. We take one more trip through the time tunnel and we find ourselves at the PolitiFact page for Hillary Clinton, where PolitiFact, which is a Pulitzer Prize-winning fact-checking organization, is found to have been telling the truth 24% of the time from the statements that they checked. She was found to be mostly telling the truth 26% of the time, half telling the truth 23% of the time, and only saying things that were mostly false 14% of the time, false 10% of the time, or pants on fire false 2% of the time. Now, some of you might say, well, look at all the false things that she said. Yes, absolutely. There have been times when she has said things that, according to PolitiFact, were mostly false or super duper false. But let's look at how she compares with other politicians. The PolitiFact numbers for various politicians were compiled into this chart that you can find on Mother Jones, actually on this article on Mother Jones, if you want to look it up for yourself. It's called Hillary Clinton is One of America's Most Honest Politicians. It's by Kevin Drum, and it was published August 1st, 2016. And it compares Hillary Clinton with Barack Obama, with various other candidates for president. And you can see that Hillary Clinton, the blue and the green areas represent truths, or mostly truths, and you can see that it covers a huge portion of her statements. Well, more than half of Hillary Clinton's statements are regarded as true or mostly true, and most of the rest are graded half true. This area back here, the yellows and the oranges and the reds, that's the area where she was not telling the truth. That area is only slightly larger than that of Barack Obama, and it is smaller than any of the other Republican candidates, including Donald Trump, who, as you can see, lies almost all of the time. The narrative that people tell you, that you may even have believed yourself, that Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are equivalents, that they're both corrupt, that they're both liars, that they're basically the same, is just not true. It is demonstrably not true that Hillary Clinton is just as dishonest as Donald Trump. Not only is she not as dishonest as Donald Trump, in fact, I don't know if anybody is as dishonest as Donald Trump. Not only is she not as dishonest as Donald Trump, she's not as dishonest as any of the other Republicans who were potentially running against her this year. All of those other Republican candidates on that chart were more dishonest than Hillary Clinton. And in fact, some of them were hugely more dishonest than Hillary Clinton. So there really is no comparison. A lot of people don't like Hillary. A lot of people don't trust Hillary. But I submit to you that a large portion of that mistrust is not based in fact, but is based in the negative stories that have been told about her for 30 years, the narrative that has been repeated over and over again, that has been given a voice and a platform throughout many areas of the media, that she is a dishonest person, that she is not to be trusted. I don't think there is any more reason to distrust Hillary Clinton at face value than there is to distrust Barack Obama. I think that she is just as trustworthy a politician as he was and is, and I think that she will be just as dependable and reliable of a president as he has been. Would she have been my number one pick? If I could pick any person in the entire country to be the next president, would I have chosen Hillary Clinton? Probably not. Do I have certain problems with Hillary Clinton? Yes, I do. Many of my problems with Hillary are the same problems that a lot of people on the left have with her. They worry about her hawkishness. They worry about whether or not she will continue America's rather muscular interventionist foreign policy in the Middle East. They worry about how many more brown people living in other countries, living in Middle Eastern countries, will die as a result of American bombs falling on their houses, falling on their cities because of the war on terror, which Hillary Clinton will probably continue throughout her presidency. Those things bother me. Those things trouble me. Those things make it so that Hillary Clinton is not a perfect candidate for me. But if you weigh her positives versus negatives, and if you compare her not just to Trump, but to any of the potential Republican alternatives to her, and the third party alternatives to her, I think it becomes quite clear. If you are a progressive person, if you are a liberal-minded person, if you're someone who wants to see workers' rights protected and wages raised, if you want to have a country and a culture that is oriented toward recognizing and protecting the rights of marginalized people, of blacks, of people of color, of women, of LGBTQ folks, of disabled folks, if you want a president who will have as one of her top priorities making education more affordable and accessible for everyone, if these are things you truly care about, Hillary Clinton is the only candidate in this election that is worthy of your vote, that it is reasonable for you to vote for. And it's not just because the other guy is such a tower of shit, which he is. Donald Trump is a huge tower of shit. But even if he wasn't, there would be plenty of reasons to vote for Hillary Clinton. That's who I'm voting for, and I'm not afraid to say it, and I'm proud to say it, and I can't fucking wait to vote for Hillary Clinton.